Got Ben Carson to follow tip. Where Ben Carson at?
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Yo, welcome back to Woke Wednesdays. We do this every single Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Now we ready.
I cannot wait. My name is Thurston Sanchez, second-year doctoral student here at Florida International University. Next week, we'll be having our first full professor on the show. He is my dissertation chair, probably the most intellectual, brilliant person I've ever met in my life. The man is absolutely brilliant. Published books, articles, everything. So tune in next week. We'll be talking about the way we police identities through race. It's going to be a really interesting conversation. But tonight we have two very prominent attorneys who practice law in South Florida. Amazing individuals. We don't always agree on everything, but these are amazing individuals nonetheless. So if you would please introduce yourselves, tell the people who you are, what you do, what you don't do, whatever you want to say.
You want to go ahead?
Sure. My name is Sean Harrison of Harrison Law, by way of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Went to University of Miami Law School.
Where you an undergrad?
I went to undergrad at Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
IUP. I'm actually playing football there as well. So shout out to them.
Oh, cool.
Dwayne Crooks of the Crooks Law Group, located in Plantation, Florida. I went to the University of Miami for undergrad. Always rocking the U. University of Florida for law school. Don't really fuck with them too much, but you know.
Okay, round two, we're just dropping the F-bomb. Okay.
But you know.
And now we're on round two, and we got.
So we're here. We're just discussing various topics, and once again.
So real quick, the N-word came up.
Yes.
We turned off the we had it, you know how we do. We turn off the phone after 1 hour because IG kicks us off. But you were kind of talking about the N-word and someone in your law program who you said was a white person, but you consider they were one of the blackest people you knew.
Absolutely.
which in itself is a really interesting thing, and that deserves a topic like a whole night unto themselves.
Oh,
so I'm gonna tell you the story real fast. Just go through it.
Please.
I'm in law school. Like I said, there's 2 black males in my law school at a class of 100 at University of Florida. Maybe about 7 to 8 black females. So I'm in the front of class because I like to get my notes on. And I hear this voice, and it is extremely black, like Drake black, like black, like. And I look back and I'm like,
Drake black.
who is up in here that is a brother that's not me or my man Marvell? Because only 2 of us.
Not
and I look back, and it's this white guy. I'm not gonna mention his name, but you know who you are. And
he watching it.
Watching right now. But he and I became close friends. His stepdad was black. His brother was half black, so he grew up in Virginia. But anyway, the point of the story is
Amber saying Drake black is not a good example.
Whoa! Like hip hop black, you know what I'm talking about. Not
Lord, Drake is hip hop. Okay, I didn't know. I thought it was R&B.
I don't know.
I didn't know. Okay.
But black. Either way, you know he's black.
Man,
so anyway, we're in the car driving one day. We're going to a party, and he said something like the N-word. Boom. And he was like, Crooks, you know, I don't know if you're cool with that. And I had to check him, be like, listen, we're friends. However, I can't allow you to say the N-word in front of me just on the strength of my blackness, you know? And he never really said it after that. I don't know what he said to his brother or his stepbrother or his dad. His dad was black, like, but
his dad is black?
His stepdad was black.
Oh, okay.
So his stepdad was black, like, with a curly perm and everything, like, Easy-E looking type dude.
So this is 1980.
Yo, stop. Why are we going back on dates? my man was outdated for his time. Let's just put it that way. He had the curly perm. But in fact, when I went to his apartment, I knocked on the door, and this black dude, I was like, yo, am I at the right place? His stepdad was visiting. I didn't realize that was his stepdad. But anyway, the point is, he said the N-word, and I had to check him. I was like, yo, I don't appreciate you saying that word around me, whether it's in music, in terms of referring to people, or referring to anybody. And he never did it again. I know in the newer generation...
On the strength of your blackness.
On the strength of my blackness, he never said it again. I mean, in the newer generation, a lot of millennials just drop N-words all the time. And I don't really get that. It's just something that's different from what I grew up with.
Okay.
This is dangerous.
The wine or the conversation?
No, the conversation.
Oh.
N-word. Here is my take on this.
Real quick, and Natasha said, right? Canadian and biracial. That's a joke. It might be a millennial thing.
Alright, so in terms of the N-word, there is definitely a problem with non-blacks using the N-word. I do agree. Do I find myself to be the N-word police? It depends. I think that's the kind of the answer to most law school questions. I think that when we get so wrapped up in trying to like stop everyone from doing everything, it becomes an issue. Do I want white people saying the N-word? No. But here's the issue that I come about, and this may showcase my ignorance. When I came to Miami, right, I have a very hard time distinguishing white individuals from Hispanic individuals. I just can't do it.
They could be both.
And it might be both, and who knows. So I'm from Pennsylvania. So either you're black, Harrisburg,
okay.
yeah. So shout out to Harrisburg.
Okay, I'm in there.
So you have?
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
All right. So either you are black, white, maybe Puerto Rican, right? And the Puerto Ricans drop the N-word, whatever, and Harrisburg. So, but when you come to Miami, first time in a basketball court, I'm saying these white people drop the N-word, and it's driving me crazy. Come to find out, they're Cuban. And I'm like, I try to check them on it. They're like, yo, I'm not white. How you think I'm white? I'm Cuban. It's like, oh, my bad. I now did a false N-word check. And then this happens over and over again. And then at some point, I'm just like, yo, I don't have the time to try to figure out if you're black, if you're white, if you're Hispanic, if you are Cuban, if you are Dominican. Are you? Listen, I just don't have time for it. You know, honestly, like if you don't, I don't even drop the N-word myself personally. So it is, if I'm not saying it, you shouldn't be saying it. It's kind of my feeling on it. But at the same time, do I need to check you and be like, yo, where are your parents from? And then, all right, you can say it. Like, to me, that's lame, to be completely honest with you.
I say the N-word all the time. Let's just keep it real. Because of where I grew up, we use that term, like, pretty much all the time. And I don't have a problem with that. But when you're my friend or my associate, and you're not of the same color as me, I find it uncomfortable. And so, I agree with Sean that I'm not going to be the nigga police going around saying, hey, you can't say nigga.
Yeah.
Like, I totally agree with that. I'm not going to check every person that's singing at a Lil Wayne concert like, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. If you're my friend or my associate,
okay, okay,
and we're in the same circles,
I agree with that.
I told my man, yo, please, I prefer if you don't say that. It just makes me uncomfortable. I don't know you like that, and it'd be like if I knew someone gay. Would he want me to drop the F word all the time? He'd probably be like, Crooks, what are you doing? Don't drop the F word. Right? And I would have to respect that as my friend.
So I have a question, and I know we've deviated from tonight's topic, but I think this conversation is, it's interesting, and I think it's important. Real quick, let me read some comments before I ask you a question.
Sure.
Amber saying the fact that he respected your wishes is dope. Talking about your white friend.
Appreciate it.
Amber saying nowadays you ask someone to not say it and they get all defensive. Amber also has grown up in Miami Gardens, I believe.
That's
Miami.
where I'm from. Shout out to Miami Gardens.
Amber, correct me if I'm wrong.
No
Katrina on the show, welcome. Natasha saying I don't hand out any black passes. VMG Ben saying none. Mario saying deciphering race and ethnicity could be a part-time job in Miami. Dog, it might be a full-time job.
I totally agree with that.
Miami.
That comment, 100%.
Amber saying A. Here's my question. And this is more I think on an abstract level, and I think abstract and practicality are sometimes different. Most of the time different, at least in my experience. Do you, and this is just the two of your opinions, right? You're not speaking for all black people in the world.
This is speaking for Sean. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's speaking for Marquise.
So Miami, we can agree that Miami is just a weird place, right? It challenges everything we know about race and ethnicity. Like it just, whatever you knew, like relearn it in Miami. Miami's just a weird place. But do you? So y'all said that white people, non-black people, black people, and I'm using this in quotations on purpose, shouldn't be saying this word. So does that mean that you think that every black person, you say you don't say the word, every black person should necessarily be saying the word? Because I've met black folks who are like, this black person, I don't like when they say this word. Which is interesting too. And I think it has, at least from what I've understood, it gets down to I don't know, the way you conduct yourself. I mean, multiple reasons, but
I think.
And this is just an interesting conversation. But go ahead.
I think that two things. One, I want to clarify. It's not that I never say the N word. I sparingly drop the N word. Like it'll either be if I'm really deep in a social exchange event, you know what I mean, and I mean, you know what I mean, and it's having a good time, whatever, or if I'm telling a story and I'm really passionate about it, then it may come out. But in terms of just general conversation, that's just not how I talk. So I don't want to portray something that, because you're black, you gotta say this word. It's not to me. But in terms of other people saying it, I don't think that this black person can say it, this black person can't say it. I feel like if you're black, or to be honest with you, if you're a minority, I kind of feel like black definitely. I don't black. You all automatically get the pass.
Beethoven, he's good.
Now, so all right, all blacks, you're all in this. Boom, you're good. He said Beethoven's black. We're gonna have to. Somebody Google that, please. Is Beethoven black? I don't know.
Beethoven, Thomas Paine. You good? TP. My boy TP.
So, but Hispanics, I do actually. So I think did J-Lo say it in the song? I think.
Yeah, she got killed.
Cardi B says it. Fat Joe says it. J-Lo says it.
Cardi B is a fascinating example.
She's Puerto Rican.
No, she's a Dominican woman.
What is she?
Cardi B is an Afro-Latina woman.
Okay, so what does that mean now? Can you say it?
And I'll be honest with you. I think the intellectual in me, the aspiring intellectual in me, I'm not there yet, but wants to say that we end up giving racism. I don't know if I know what I want to say just yet. I'm still trying to figure out my thoughts. But I think sometimes we give the N-word
too much.
We give it power. We give this word a lot of power. If
he just said that, you'd have called him Ben Carson.
No. I think. I'm prefacing this by saying that what I'm thinking is very abstract. It's not very practical. What I'm thinking. I think it's extremely abstract, and maybe even a privilege for me to think this way. I think we sometimes give. So words in themselves are meaningless. So you take a word like cat, C-A-T, it's a 3-letter word. Right? You switch it around, all of a sudden it's a different word, act, right? But the reason they mean something is because there are systems in place that have given these words power for a long time. There's a repetition that comes along with giving something power and making it a social construct, right? So I think the N-word in itself, and I one day I would like to write about this, is that what is it about this particular word historically that it became the word that we now know today? There were so many other pejoratives and epithets that black people were called during we'll say the time of chattel slavery, because there have been multiple arguments on slavery.
You just quote slavery?
No. Like chattel. I'm talking about chattel slavery because some arguments are made.
Got it.
All right. So the point is that what is it about this particular word that it became this? Because there are other words that also have a horrible history around blackness, but that people still say today, and everyone can say. So but that's like, this is me thinking in the abstract. But I wonder. You have again, and people like Clarence Thomas, Ben Carson, like would people be comfortable? No, would.
You don't think they said N-word?
I'm not saying they don't say it.
I'm sure they do.
I'm asking. I don't know, but I'm asking it. Like, I wonder how we would conceptualize them saying this word when they have been historically and from a legislation standpoint against black people, right? So I think this argument is an argument for years to come.
It's definitely a slippery slope argument. But here's my thing: if you're black, you can say whatever you want, as far as N-words. So, I mean, just because by the strength of your blackness is the way I feel on that. I've known people who were Ivy League educated who dropped the N-word all the time, and me and them have had N-word conversations all the time, back and forth. Like, yo, what's up? You know, mana. You know, blah blah blah. Mana. Yeah, what's up? So the point is. To me, when I hear someone else who is not of a particular race or ethnicity, it definitely has a certain offense to it, you know. And I'm not saying like Sean said, I'm not the N-word police. I'm not gonna pause you and stop you. But if you're my friend or you're my associate, like I wouldn't come in here and refer to you in a racial epithet. Would I? That would be extremely ignorant and rude of me to come in here and be like, "Yo, what's up?" But I don't know. Fill in the blank. Racial epithet, right?
Yeah. I think there are also different histories to it, right?
So you are.
No, I'm not saying it would be nice of you.
Right.
But I do think I think the N-word is in its own category as opposed to like wetback or something like that. I think they're offensive as well. Absolutely, I'm not taking away from that it's an offensive word. But what I'm saying, I think the N-word is also in it's in a category that literally this is the only word that people will say the first letter and then word after it in the American vernacular. Like most people, at least that I know, surround myself with, will say N-word. If they are in black, they'll say N-word. This is the one word, and I think rightfully so. But I think it also merits critical analysis. This is me thinking as a scholar. This is not me thinking as your everyday practical person. And I think people who go to graduate school kind of deal with this sometimes, trying to figure out themselves as a scholar and as your everyday person.
And here's my thing: there's racial epithets and slurs for Jews, Italians, Irish people, Germans, every category. However, those other ethnicities or cultures don't embrace it and allow other people to say it. So why are we as black people allowing other people who are not in our group to call us the N-word? Yeah. You would never hear someone Jewish allow someone sit in front of them and say, "What's up, my Jewish slur word?" Yeah. No, that's not gonna happen. Yeah. That person's gonna get checked.
You know why though?
So this goes back.
You know
so
why.
We should check other people for using words.
But you know the answer to that.
Give it to me, bro.
Here's the answer. You also don't see you done messed up. All right, so
I done open a can.
This is why that happens, and it is a problem with the black community that we've done this to ourselves. That now we've got ourselves into a pickle, right? Now, it's like, okay, we're going to take this slur and we're going to make it cool and we're going to make it for us.
Right.
And now we have this word. So now we have a culture that a lot of individuals want to at least appreciate. We're not going to say that everyone wants to be black, but a lot of people want that, when a lot of the things are in the coolness of the black culture, right? And one of the coolness in the black culture right now is just dropping the N-word all willy-nilly. You don't see the Jewish culture being like, "Hey, Jewish slur word! Hey, Jewish slur word! We're gonna make a song about the Jewish slur word."
Exactly.
And because that doesn't happen, now it becomes something that they just don't say. They just don't go into that. So it's just a thing that we're not talking about, and we're not saying that word, and we're not addressing each other as that. But now, when you take the black community, what you have is you have a dichotomy, right? You have this word that is so bad, and it makes us feel so sad, and it makes us feel so depressed and brought down, and feel like we're less and we're inferior because that's how it was done to our ancestors. But we're gonna take the ER off, we're gonna add an A, and we're gonna make it cool. We're gonna put it on our rap songs. Like, so now you have this word that is like, okay, it's cool, but it's also hurtful. So when someone wants to use it in the cool sense, we're taking it as the hurtful sense. And then when they use it as the hurt, so it's just, when a black person's saying it, it's the cool sense. And now it's so many different hoops you're jumping through for this same word that either, man, something needs to happen with it. And it's a slippery slope on what exactly needs to happen. But we've almost done this to ourselves. We play this game, and now here we are.
Would agree.
So I think blackness has been commodified, right? Like it's been turned into something to sell. Like people want it. They want the coolness aspects of it, but they don't want to deal with the reality of it. Tommy Lauren is a good example. I posted her recently on Woke Wednesdays. You know who Tommy Lauren is? She's this white blonde woman who was on Fox News, young girl, who is just known to be extremely problematic, very conservative, anti-Black Lives Matter. I mean, anti-everything, anti-Obama. Okay. And in this video, I guess, leaked out, I don't know if she posted a story where she was listening to 21 Savage and was rapping it. And it just went viral.
I saw that.
Yeah. And it's like, so your politics is anti-black, really anything
Yes.
that's not white, but you will still listen to the music and rap it and all that
Because
stuff.
everybody loves black people. But no one wants to be black. That's just real
Until
shit.
it's time to be black.
Until it's time to be black.
Yeah, I know it's coming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, even something like that. Like, you have this Yankees hat on. I remember last time I was in New York, and we were getting shawarma, me and my man.
You're getting what?
Shawarma.
What does that mean?
Like
Food?
lamb.
I see you, Amber. I want to address that. I see Amber.
And these two Indian cats were literally fighting, and they were calling each other N-word. Like, yo, you know, like, what's up, my N? Like, oh, you serious?
I have a question about that.
What's up?
I've met Indian people that are 10 times darker
Yes.
than most black people that I know.
Right.
And I think that challenges the way we think about race, because we think about race as specifically a skin color
Right.
type of thing, right? As people who have studied, you know, through law school and racial minorities, and how do you make sense of this of someone who might be darker than you? Like, I mean, super dark. I've met some Indian people that are just so dark, but they're not considered black people, right? And I think that challenges the way we think about race. I'm just kind of curious on your thoughts, on y'all's thoughts. Woke Wednesdays is the place to challenge thoughts, so I'm curious. Go for it.
I mean, I had a situation where this Indian guy threw me out of a club, and I was calling racism on. I was like, yo, this is wild racist, son. And
Son.
he was like, I'm white. And I was like, first of all, you're darker than me. I was like...
You think he's white?
He called himself white. He said, I'm white.
Mm.
I was there with some white people, and they, you know, had a disagreement because it was a black event, and we all got kicked out. And I was like, yo, this is racism. You threw her out because she's white. And he's like, I'm white. And I'm going, pause. First of all, I don't consider you white, but this shit is still racist. But in the terms of the Indian thing, I've actually been in the mall, in the suburbs, and I see young white kids. I live in the burbs. You know what I'm saying?
does.
Shout out to the burbs.
Shout out to Pinecrest.
Burb life.
I'm up north, yo. I'm in Plantation, bro. So anyway,
Which in itself is weird.
you see these kids. They go to these schools that are $50,000 a year, private schools, and they're wearing their socks up to here. They're wearing flip flops. They're trying to sag, and they're calling each other N words. And these kids are clearly physically white. But because of the hip hop culture, they feel that it's cool to call themselves the N word. But for me, I still have a problem with that.
Yeah, you should.
And I'm not, like as Sean said, I'm not the N word checker or the N word police to be like, yo, please stop referring to yourself to N word. But this stuff happens. This is what's going on in society right now.
Yeah.
You got 12-year-old, 13-year-old white kids trying to look black, trying to be like 21 Savage and these kids, and using the N-word. What are we doing? These kids are wilding out here.
I don't have any issue with that. I don't think that a white
to extremities. I'm like,
yeah, it's really not. I mean, it plays that way sometimes, but I don't have an issue with No, sorry. Let me rephrase this. Actually, I see what you're saying. I don't have an issue with what Mr. Crooks is saying. Is what I'm saying. Not that I don't have any issue with a white person who's sagging and dropping an N-bomb. I'm not saying I have an issue with that. I do have an issue with it, but I said I'm not gonna spend my time and my resources in trying to police it. But
damn, you got resources? What's up?
I got
Resources.
Okay.
Trying to police it.
Okay.
It's a situation, like I said, I think I was trying to go, it's hard to talk and listen and then respond. I was trying to talk to Amber a little bit on here on the comments about it, but it's a situation in which we have a culture in which we want to make it cool, right? Like, there was no campaign make the N-word cool, but it was, and that's what we did. And now, I mean, not now per se. I think there was a whole box the N-word campaign. It didn't really go that far, but it is kind of dying down. I think the N-word honestly is dying down as being a cool thing to say. But sorry, I mean, I don't know about your days, but but in terms of right now, I don't think it's as cool to say. But do you go around policing it? No. Do you think that, have we put it into the media? Yes. Do we say it all the time there? Yes. Now, we have a situation where we're putting this out there for individuals to say, listen to, quote, and because we've done that now, are we going to now expect individuals, white or other, to like sit in their car with the windows up and edit themselves? No, they're not. So when they're not around you, they're definitely dropping the N-bomb. You know that, right? All your white friends say the N-word. Like,
I think White Chicks 5, the movie, is one of the best examples
yes.
of that. If y'all have seen it.
They say it all the time. Now, is that right? No. Should we check them? Sometimes. A girl, I probably would never ever check her, to be honest with you. Just because in terms of being a black male, I'm just not doing it. But in terms of a white dude, there's times in which I will, times in which I won't. But I don't think that there's a situation in which we haven't brought this among ourselves. We brought this problem among ourselves. Now we have to deal with it.
I don't know if I agree with that. All right, real quick, let me read these comments.
I agree with what some of these people said about black people being cool. That's definitely a true statement.
Are we still boycotting Chick-fil-A?
Natasha's saying, boycotts only last 10 days nowadays. If that. Natasha's saying, in Georgia, the police mistaked a dark-skinned Indian man as black and body slammed him, which paralyzed him. Georgia is a fucked up state. Georgia actually deported a Puerto Rican man to Mexico.
Sorry.
Puerto Ricans are born with American citizenship, so you literally cannot deport them. Like, they're Americans. But the man was deported to Mexico. Georgia also has a county where it's mandatory to have a gun. Georgia, y'all need to get y'all shit together.
Shout out to Georgia.
Atlanta's the best place in Georgia, and even then, I mean,
I don't fuck with Georgia. How about that?
Mario's saying Dravidians are a darker subset of Indians with genetic ties back to northern Africa. Shit's wild. Natasha's saying black people have always been the arbitrators of cool in America.
I totally agree with what she's saying right there. What's her name?
Natasha.
Oh yeah, again.
Amber saying, Natasha's brilliant. Amber saying, of course, they'll say it in the comfort of their own homes. However, have the decency and respect to not say it in front of a friend, colleague, someone you respect.
Well, okay. Here we go.
I think this gets back to the Trump comments, and the H&M. I think it's all tied together. Why does it take explicitity to offend us? There's something about words that offend us, as opposed to someone's actions.
You mean?
So, even though words are a type of action, I think sometimes actions, other type of actions, are more offensive and more deplorable. I think Trump is a great example. He's done things. Every president before him, Obama included, have done horrible things that have affected people.
Yes.
Killed babies, killed women, killed children, killed all these people. But for some reason, it takes words to offend us, like, at face value. Why does it take that? And that's something that I'm so really interested in.
You mean, and when you say words, you mean referring to
like shitholes,
the
like,
motherland as
if
shitholes.
someone can treat someone as a N-word, as a horrible, despicable person, as a racist, but never call them that to their face. I'm from the South. I've seen this. I know this. I've experienced it. Sometimes it doesn't take you to call someone an epithet for you to treat them as subhuman.
This is why. I think I know the reason why, or I could at least illustrate one of the reasons why. I think it's because of the age in which we live in, honestly. Not to piggyback on what you're saying, but absolutely. I think one of the reasons for that is because we're in the social media age, right? And we're in the digital age in which we're going off with sound bites, right? So we can say that President Trump said these countries are shitholes. President Trump said XYZ. Here is a soundbite. But let's look at ourselves, and maybe some of your followers are different, and maybe I haven't been following closely. But can we name, let's say, 5 bills that he signed? Like, can we name a few different policies that he's actually put in place?
Is that positives?
No, policies.
Okay.
That he's put in place to disenfranchise us directly.
I mean,
besides the,
for
sure, definitely.
TPS.
Yes.
For sure, against multiple countries.
Yes.
Started with Nicaragua, my country.
Yes.
Haiti, El Salvador. Yes. The list continues.
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying there's not. But what my point is this: in terms of the majority and the masses, like, we are the talented 10. We are the educated few. Like, we are the we can go there if we want to.
Oh,
That's an accurate statement.
We can go there if we want
that's
to.
also a very elitist statement.
That's fine. But that's 100% fine. That's
Or
okay.
is more wine.
But at the same time, everyone can't. Like, everyone does not know that. And a lot of things, what's easier to say to someone is,
No, I'm good, thank you.
what's easier for someone to say is, hey, Trump said these countries are shitholes. And I can tell a person from anywhere that. And they can say, that's bad.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But if I say, hey,
Trump did this
policy, they'll be like, what?
Well, that's his political viewpoint.
And it's not on its face, you know, as
Right.
bad. It's easier for me to tell you something that I know on its face. You shouldn't say countries are shitholes. You know this when you're 6.
Right.
Like when you're 5 and 6 years old, you shouldn't say this about a people, a group, a country, or whatever.
But I can barely speak English at 6.
And so what's happening is you have like people who are trying to clean up that shithole comment, which is ridiculous in itself. Because like Sean said, and I just piggyback on this, when you refer to something as a shithole, you obviously imply that this is where feces go, right? It's a shithole. It's a dump. It's something that is not a place you want to go to or come from. However, you'll have people who are supporters of Trump saying things like, well, a lot of those people don't have plumbing, and therefore they use the bathroom outside. Therefore, shithole may have a different meaning. No, it's not. That's not the case. We're not going to allow people to divert a lot of languages or change the narrative, as a lot of people like to say, change the narrative and misdirect people. This is the same thing with fake news. We're going around telling people it's fake news. It's not fake news. It's real fucking news, people. Like, you know,
I have a question.
People are going around just labeling things and basically trying to alter your brain to change what you are actually seeing or perceiving or hearing.
I have a question.
Someone calls a country a shithole, they mean, I don't want people from there. I'm a racist.
I want to hear your question.
Go ahead.
So
Sorry.
I think I want to disagree, maybe for just like interest, just like curiosity purposes.
Right.
Not that I necessarily think this.
So you're playing devil's advocate.
Maybe yes,
Alright.
for sure. But so my family's from Nicaragua. Nicaragua was the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere until the Haitian earthquake hit.
Mm-hmm.
Once the Haitian earthquake hit, which was horrible, right? Nicaragua came like in second. Still extreme poverty. I mean, the poverty is horrendous. It's horrible. It's unimaginable by
Yes.
the standards of the United States.
Okay.
I can believe that.
My point is this: Nicaragua's economy is a shithole. Horrible. Not necessarily by their fault, because the United States has played a hand in so many of our countries, Latin America, the Caribbean, African nations, in so many Middle Eastern countries. So the United States is such a colonizer in its politics and its physicalities in so many ways. So, but my country's economy is a shithole. People are living in horrible.
You would literally refer to your country's economy as a shithole. You
Absolutely.
would use those exact words to describe. You wouldn't
My-
say
to
your
describe
economy.
my
You wouldn't say
country.
your
Developing
economy is a
nation.
developing nation,
Absolutely.
a third world country,
However,
a country that is impoverished.
However,
you would say the word shithole to
Absolutely.
describe your economy.
The economy, absolutely.
I would
yes.
never utilize
The re-
shithole
the-
unless it's
you know
a
why?
racial element to it.
You know, do you know why? And it is because our economy is so horrible. So horrible. Where children are constantly dying because they can't afford food to eat. Yes, that to me is deplorable. That
It's
is a
horrible.
horrible
It's
thing.
horrible.
And I think, however, I am not trying to decontextualize the situation. I'm saying the United States has played a hand in making my country and so many others such a horrible economic situation for our people, Jamaica included, so many other countries included. So part of me wishes that we would have taken his language and flipped it to our benefit to say maybe economically it is a shithole, but that's partly because you have played a hand in making us that way. You are part of the reason that our children are dying and going to sleep without
I
food.
see your point.
But then again, it would take that logic in itself is a privilege, and it would take a type of education maybe to even start thinking like that. But the United States, as you said, it's microwavable, this type of so we tend to take it and run
You
with
mean
it.
like basically how they did in Africa by stripping our gold, our natural resources, our ivory, as well as our diamond supply, and then creating extreme poverty? That would be, like you said, and I agree with you, a westernized country or westernized viewpoint taking advantage of another country and making it a shithole. Yes. So it was made a shithole through the utilization of probably Western or European influence, but I still would not refer to my country, Jamaica, or any other countries as a shithole, whether speaking in terms of economy or people or even the territory. I think it's such a condescending and elitist thing to say that it's classic Trump, and it is inherently racist to refer to a country or a group of people as shithole countries, and we should bring more people from Norway. That in itself is racist.
For sure. But
I can't get behind. No one could defend that. And you know, you have these people. And did you see the thing with Cory Booker? How Cory Booker tried to call out. Like, how do you?
Somebody said Jamaica can't be included, sir.
Yeah, that's Panda.
Who said Jamaica can't be included?
Because I said Jamaica could also be included in the way that the U.S. has played a hand in making our countries economically, problematic. Cory Booker should also be critiqued, though.
Why? For what purpose?
Hold on. Let me read all these comments.
Sorry.
We have like a gazillion comments.
This is hilarious, actually.
I think a lot of people are disagreeing with me, which is fine. Mario saying, nor should we allow people to blatantly ignore the role that France and America played in the economic, social, political, economic unraveling of Haiti. Absolutely agreed.
Absolutely.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Haiti still owes France money.
Absolutely.
Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, that is. I think that is correct.
How did that?
Because they had to pay them to leave. France said, "I'm going to continue invading you unless you pay us. Even though you won your civil war, you have to pay us to not come back and fuck with you." And so they're still paying them money. So I totally agree with this person.
We're going to have an episode on Haiti and colonization.
What's this about Jamaica right here?
I said that the United States has played a hand in developing countries, Jamaica included. And then Panda said Jamaica can't be included, sir. Mr. Panda said. Savi, I just want to read all the comments and then go back to it. Savi said, they don't want us to pull them receipts, bro. Oh, for sure. Panda said, Jamaica gas been under tutelage of the British since forever. Maybe I should have said Western power instead of the United States. I'm sorry. But I see where you're going with this. Thank you. Mario said, I can't bypass the intellectual gymnastics and call him Trump out on his habitual fuckery, the bad kind. I'm a big fan of the good fuckery. Interesting. I never knew much about the Jamaican economy. We owe money from being free. I'm talking about Haiti.
Yes.
I'm with you, Hurston. I feel the same way about Haiti. Never absolving the complicity of the U.S. or France. We are paying for Ooh, Panda said this line is powerful. We are paying for reparations.
Wow.
So we have literally 20 minutes left
Sure.
on Woke Wednesdays, and we haven't even gotten to the law. Can we consider? Okay, I know we didn't even talk about law tonight. Y'all are attorneys. These are attorneys. So we need them back. We need these two guys back on the show. We definitely got to talk about this. One of my questions as a non-legal person, as a lay person, when it comes to legislation, I don't know anything about this. Can we consider these type of commercials, whether it's Pepsi, right, that we can end systematic institutional racism with a Pepsi can, or Dove, whether you consider racist or not, H&M, whatever your thoughts are, can we consider these commercials a type of hate crime? Can we consider these type of commercials a type of discrimination under the law? What do you think, and what are your questions as the audience members in your comments, but as attorneys, people who have practiced law, gone to law school, passed the bar,
Holla.
Long time ago.
I heard that's hard.
Yes, sir.
What are your opinions on this?
I think that, and this is simply looking at it in terms of a hate crime. I think when you look at hate crime, what you're looking at is an intent to legitimately disenfranchise someone because of their race, etc. And it's usually something, honestly, you're looking at more of a physical aspect in terms of hate crime, something that's done in order to actually hurt an individual base because you're black, I'm doing this to you, right? That's what a hate crime is. I'm going to kind of, so in a general answer to that is just no. And I think it's not no just because I think it's just you're using the wrong word. And so I'm just going to change the word because the word hate crime in terms of the statute in Florida is very specific. And it's usually used in terms of a situation in which I can fight you and it can be an assault because we get in an argument or I don't like you. Or I can fight you because I don't like Hispanics and it's my point of view that I'm going to beat up every Hispanic that I see. That's a hate crime. Now, I think what the true question is, and maybe not the true question, but kind of a way you can kind of turn it to make it a little bit different is that actionable? Could you sue on because of this? Or is that what we call negligible? Is that considered negligence? Could I sue for negligence because of that? And the answer, I think, in terms of that is maybe. And that's kind of what any lawyer, I think, would say. Negligence is basically you're looking at is there an action that is done that did they not exhibit the amount of care that they were supposed to exhibit in order to, did they have a duty to exhibit a certain degree of care, and then did they breach that duty, and then is there a direct link or causation between that? This is back to like studying for the bar. Is there a direct link between that breach of duty to your causation and your damages? And I think legitimately where we would all fail in terms of a true lawsuit because of this is because in reality, and this is what happens a lot of times when someone calls my office and says, hey, can I sue because of this? A lot of times there's no damages. Like, what are your actual damages? Like, what is the court of law supposed to do? So when someone wants to sue someone, right, a lot of the time they want to sue because, let's be honest, we're mad, we're upset, we want them to suffer, I want you to be in trouble because you did something that's wrong, right? That's why I want to sue you. But the problem is, okay, so what's the court supposed to do about it? Like, alright, so what the court can do usually is, we can, in terms of a criminal court, we can put someone in jail. In a civil court, we can make you pay money, or we can issue an injunction, which basically means that we can tell you to start or stop doing something that you're currently doing. That's kind of the only real option that you really have in terms of a courtroom.
I have a big question.
Sure.
And someone else does too, but go ahead.
Sure. I would totally agree with Sean on this. Like you said, your basic elements for negligence, duty, breach, causation, damages. For instance,
that's an attorney lingo. The way you spit that out.
For instance, if I take this bottle and crack you in the head,
Bam.
right? Bam. Now I hit you in the head with a bottle. I am criminally liable for that battery by the unconsented touching of your head with that bottle, and I'm also probably civilly liable for the negligence for failing to do what a reasonable person would do.
What do you mean by civilly liable?
Civil, in terms of civil, as Sean mentioned earlier, is about the money, right?
So and civil is tied.
Civil is just cash.
Civil is cash.
That's
why we're both civil attorneys. we practice civil litigation, but we also do criminal defense.
Because civil has a different definition.
Definitely, a lot of people confuse civil rights with civil litigation.
I see what you're saying.
But let's be very clear in that.
Non-law person.
And when you talk about civil rights, is a distinct element from civil in terms of monetary compensation for your wrongful action. Yeah. So like I was saying, I take this wine bottle and I literally take this bottle and crack you in the head with it. Well, you're going to sue me for your damages in terms of your medical damages, the bottle, the cost of the bottle for cracking you in the head, maybe lost wages for not going to work, and maybe some emotional damages, some pain and suffering, but in the case of these commercials, like Sean mentioned, you will not be able to compensate or quantify your damages to get any type of numeration in terms of a monetary settlement. So I personally would say that no, you can't sue H&M for putting up a racist commercial.
So okay, and I wish we had more time to talk about this. I know we talked about so many other things tonight that I think it was needed. And Amber asked a really interesting question. She said, "Where were y'all? Where were y'all when that girl? Where were y'all? Time and place. When that girl at the university didn't get charged with a hate crime. She's talking about. I don't know if y'all heard about it. It was a white woman who is poisoning her roommate's."
I heard about that.
Everything. Her
putting
toothbrush.
Stuff in her toothbrush. And putting stuff in her lotion.
Disgusting.
I heard about that.
Do you believe? And recently, it came out that there was a decision made that this was not a hate crime. what do you think about? I don't know if you know enough about the situation, the context. I don't know if you know. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I can tell you. Okay.
Go ahead.
I know the situation, and I should probably look into it a little bit more to figure out exactly why it wasn't a hate crime. But I can tell you, and this is the problem, because we both are we don't work for the government, right?
Right.
So in terms of any criminal
In a way
case,
you do.
and in terms of any criminal case, we would be a defense attorney.
In a
right?
way you do, though.
No, we
Not
don't
at
at
all.
all.
We're champions for people.
We do
We're
not.
defense
We're not
attorneys.
public defenders.
Right.
In a way, everyone works for the government. We all pay taxes.
Okay.
Most of us.
Okay, got it.
That's
got
what
it.
I'm saying.
In that case, yes. But in terms of the criminal case, I would only look at it as
So both
a
are
defense
defense
attorney.
attorneys?
Yeah, we don't work for the state.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't work for the.
I'm glad you're not prosecutors.
Private.
Because I know a lot of alphas who are prosecutors.
I know some of them as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But in terms of to answer her question, here's a very good answer in terms of how I would defend this case. And this is not saying that I would defend. Anyway,
If the check was cleared.
it's not to say I would defend her. But
So y'all are elitist defense attorneys.
Oh no.
no, not at all. But here's what I'm saying. Here's the deal with that. The way that you defend a case like this, it's kind of honestly pretty simple. So what you would do is you would have to just attack the argument on the basis of her doing that wasn't because of her race. So and that it's gonna be really hard to prove
yes.
that beyond a reasonable doubt, as we've all quoted over and over again. It's gonna be how are you gonna prove that I did this to you because you are black, white, Hispanic,
Exactly.
gay, straight, whatever.
Exactly.
Like that's the argument beyond a reasonable doubt. That's why you never admit to anything.
And that's why she didn't get charged for a hate crime.
Yeah.
Because if you and I are roommates and I don't like you, and not to say I would ever do this or you would ever do this, but if you spit into my Coke or my wine, I mean, are you really hating me because I'm black, or are you just hating me because I'm a bad roommate and I leave my shoes on the floor? You know, that's why that case, and I think like Sean mentioned, when you're talking about the state and their burden to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that happened, that burden is such a huge burden, first of all, to prove any type of action. I always think the state has a weak case.
all the time.
Always. I'm a
weak.
defense attorney, Sean's a defense attorney. I can find holes in any case. And I go, this is fucked up. This is fucked up. The state went wrong here. Police went wrong here. This is wrong. So you got to understand from their perspective, this is probably a weak case. They're not going to try to prosecute someone on that. That's clearly not a hate crime. It would be different if she had Nazi flags all over her apartment, called her the N-word several times.
Has text messages saying, I'm doing this because she's black.
Chick. Boom. Then you more fit into the elements of going into hate crime layers.
So this might need a whole nother Woke Wednesdays. But Everyday Pan is saying, but she said it. Natasha's saying right. She agrees with him.
Mm-hmm.
She said she posted a video.
Mm-hmm. I saw that. And this is the problem with this. Now
she got money. Like,
yeah, you know, that comes into play too.
Here's like I said, this is why I prefaced it with I had to look at it further. But in terms of generally speaking, how I would defend this case is that now if they have every single piece of evidence and they don't move forward with it, I don't know. I can't tell you exactly why they do whatever they do. But what I was saying is generally with the state, they don't like bringing cases forward and spending resources for cases that they can't win, right? So they'll be more likely to downgrade a case and not have that strict burden of proof for a hate crime, and they'll just bring it down to a battery or whatever it may be, you know, exactly in order to be able to better prosecute the case. That happens all the time. It's not.
Go ahead.
Sorry, it's not a situation in which it's and like I said, I literally would take a look at it and give you a better analysis of it when I go through all the facts of that case. But generally speaking, in terms of that one in particular, all I would say is that with cases such as that one and many other cases the state brings upon you, the easiest thing to do is to bring the case down because it's just hard to prosecute a lot of those cases.
Exactly.
Because of the burden of proof they have.
So real quick, last semester I was in class and we were talking about legislation and I asked a question. Well, I made an argument that our humanity is tied to legislation.
I remember you said this.
Slavery at one point was legal in the United States.
Yes.
It was legal. Jim Crow was legal. Dr. King, birthday was a couple days ago.
Shout out.
He said, Alpha Man, he talked about civil disobedience. He said, disobey the law is an immoral thing, but then to also obey a law that is immoral is in itself immoral. Like, he was getting at that the law is oftentimes a jurisdiction for truth and for justice.
Yes.
But historically, we know that it's not. We know this. We know this. It's been proven and not proven time and time and time again.
Okay.
So why do we continue to accept the law as a type of authority over us when we know historically, not just for black people, but for anyone who is a non-white upper class descended male, right? That includes white women too. The law has never, or most oftentimes, not been in your favor. So why do we as a people continue to accept legislation and law as a governing power over our lives when we know that historically and presently it is not oftentimes for us?
Number one.
And we have 8 minutes.
Number one, because you lack political resources and political power and capital. Laws, first of all, let's just understand how laws are made. Most of these laws are made through political PACs. You have super PACs that create laws. They hand a packet to someone and they sign it. Probably 99% of the time they don't read a single line of that law. So you have people who push agendas.
Whew, that's dangerous. I work for Congress, bro.
You have people who push agendas, and that's just the way it is. Now, to go to your question of, and I'm going to give Sean a few minutes, obviously, but to go to your question of why we can't do anything about it is because we don't have political power. We don't organize. We're not organized. We don't have.
I think we do have political power.
If we have political power,
but we don't organize.
Okay, well, the lack of organization is a problem. It's problematic in terms of your political power. You don't have the resources to put people in position where they'll get a piece of paper from their super PAC that benefits you. And that's why we have to follow whatever rules and regulations.
I do think we have the resources. I absolutely do.
Really? Why don't we have more minorities in the Senate? Or why don't we have more black people in Congress? Why don't we have more?
I think the answer to that is gerrymandering of districts.
I think that's part of it. I think even the very idea that you say black people, we tend to think of categories as a homogenous entity. Like we say the black community, the Hispanic community. Those don't exist. They don't. We are too separated by different things: class, gender, sexual orientation, whatever.
Okay.
Sometimes it can manifest because of certain things that happen. I think Roy Moore in Alabama was a good example of that.
Great example.
But I think we do have power, and I think it goes back to your original argument about poverty and about a mindset. I think we do have power in a type of way, but we don't think about it in that way, and that's
or we don't
wield
it or utilize it in terms of.
Can I challenge you on that?
Yeah. No, please.
Here's my issue with your statement here, and this is what drives me crazy about some arguments, right?
Go ahead.
We're now saying that we have the power to mobilize and vote and get out there and change these laws, but at hour one, one of the major arguments does. We don't have the power to actually become successful at life, and we're destined for poverty.
I say that.
So wasn't our general argument? So the general argument? I would like to. I really want to
run
bring it full circle. So, because I'm pretty sure at the very beginning, what we were saying was that, and in a comment, maybe you can correct me, or someone could say, okay, this is what I was saying. But I think the argument was individuals who were born of a certain in low income areas. They're most likely not going to get out of that area. Yes. They're going to stay there. They're not going to. Absolutely. They're not going to become, better.
Absolutely.
Okay, so they're not going to become better. They're going to stay in that area, but they are able to organize and change everything. Absolutely. So why come they can't change their own situation? But they can change all of America.
Historically, that has been proven over and over and over and over again.
I disagree with you. I just think I think they can do both.
You're disagreeing on a future. I'm talking about a past. Historically speaking, what I said has been proven over and over and over again. Now, presently and going on to the future, I do believe that we can and we should organize around certain things. I think Dr. King's probably one of the best examples of organization to him it wasn't just a black thing. He didn't think in that way. He was a holistic thinker. He was a brilliant strategist, and also SCLC.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just an individual thing, right? And we oftentimes think of that. It wasn't just Dr. King. It was also his organization and his wife and everybody. But he was talking about Vietnam. He was communicating with Cesar Chavez. He was all over the place. That's why he was so dangerous.
Yeah.
So he thought intersectionally, which I
agree.
think, maybe not from a gender standpoint, but racially, ethnically, absolutely. So so he believed in this power, but I'm saying historically, poverty is a thing that we inherit, and most oftentimes we don't get out of it. Just empirically, statistically, we don't. But can we? I think yes, we can, but we have to think in these type of ways that y'all are saying, which is to organize, but it is so hard to even get to that. At FIU alone, there are myriad of black organizations on campus, but they are divided by ethnicity, language, class, but they're all still black. So even at a microscopic level, which is just a university, divisions happen, which is, I think, why it's so hard to be politically organized. That's part of the reason, at least. But I completely agree with y'all. I wish we could. I wish we did. But we don't. Real quick, let me read some of these comments because they're blowing up. Gerrymandering plays a role. We can't organize effectively because they reduce our voting power. Saying,
I would love to comment on that. Go ahead.
08 election is also another example about, I think, black people coming together. Do we have the power to execute? If so, at what cost to our gains? Come at Natasha saying that's true of poor white people as well. Absolutely. Panda saying 08 is a great example, but look at the reshaping of our districts. Of our districts affect that. I'm not. Help me understand that, Panda. Mara saying thank you for clarifying that King had help in strategizing. Natasha saying execution has come with the understanding that the target is continually moving. Natasha saying it's far more difficult to mobilize when basic needs are not met. That's a very real thing. Great conversation this evening. Please do part 2. So y'all are wanted back apparently.
They like Ben Carson.
Wow. Ayana saying divisions happen because people want to find a sense of belonging with others who have been through similar experiences, struggles. All right, look, we have 2 minutes left. Instagram is gonna kick us off in the next minute. Please, parting words in 30 seconds. And I promise you, if they're willing, I would love to have a part 2 with the both of y'all. Y'all have been absolutely amazing tonight. So 30 seconds, please, whoever go. Parting words.
Glad people to educate themselves, stand up for their beliefs, and never falter in your progression as a people. Dwayne Crooks Law Group.
Yeah, Instagram?
Crooks Law Group.
Crooks Law Group? Okay.
Crooks. CROOKS.
CROO?
Crooks Law Group.
He needs help, y'all. I need to get on his follow tip because he, you know what I mean? He'll be on help.
I
just
just started an Instagram. Sean, help me out with it. Just like that.
Crooks
Absolutely.
Law Group. That's your Instagram.
That's correct.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I put it on there. Look him up, please. And I can also tag him in the promo video for today. Go ahead.
All right. Also, one thing I want to say quickly in reference to gerrymandering of districts, just because I love...
You literally have less than a minute left.
Less than a minute, because I love politics. Gerrymandering of districts, you're going to hate when I say this, is because it's very beneficial, because if there were, there would be no black politicians, and I said it.
Oh my god.
Also,
oh my god.
Follow me at The Lifting Lawyer is the name. I'm really glad I be able to come here and do this. I really appreciated it.
Yeah.
And definitely never think that you can't ever go past your current situation because of where you are right now. It's not true. You can definitely do that.
These are 2 amazing, approachable, I think, Miami attorneys. When I think of attorneys, I don't always think of them as approachable people. But I think they are very approachable people, easy to talk to, awesome people. As you can see, just comfortable, like, using slang and being ourselves, and just, we can be smart and do all these things. I think that's extremely important. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for being yourselves. Thank you for bringing your identities and your intelligence to the space. Love to have y'all for part 2 if y'all are down. We can go grab some drinks with y'all sometime.
Don't drink and drive. If y'all do, hit me up.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Y'all have a good night. We'll see y'all next week. Oh my god. Wow. Oh my gosh. That's